What's up? This is Dr. Taylor Crick, host of the Autoimmune Doc podcast, and on this YouTube channel, I only share scientific studies from the literature, just supporting, some of the things that I talk about on the podcast and supporting some of the things that I believe in too, not just cherry picking studies that support what I believe in, but this one's about essential oils, and people just don't understand that there's a lot of research and a lot of hardcore scientific literature supporting the use of essential oils. It's not just crunchy moms on Facebook saying that they use essential oils and don't use medications. There's a lot of research showing the effects of essential oils and different things from plant compounds. So I think it's cool. Today's study is about the GABAergic pathways. GABA is just so crucially important today. I don't know if it's COVID. I don't know if it's, the lockdowns, quarantines, vaccines, all the things, but we're seeing so much anxiety. And GABA is a calming neurotransmitter. So I want to start by just explaining that real quick before we get into this, because once we're going to get into this, we're just going to go through, what this study says about just what essential oils and their impacts on GABA and just all the things. But GABA is the opposite of something called glutamate. And glutamate causes excitotoxicity, neuronal excitation. So it's like one of the reasons why things like MSG are bad. That's monosodium glutamate and cause neuroexcitation. It's one of the reasons why like food dyes can be bad for hyperactivity and things like that. It's one of the reasons why aspartame and artificial sweeteners are bad. They increase glutamate. But a lot of people today have problems with GABA. They can't turn off that stress response, that frazzled feeling, that excitation. And it's because we have so many sensory inputs from our phones and our Instagrams and our news and our TV and our kids and our games and our sports and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, oh my gosh, so many people have so much problems putting the brakes on their stress systems. And they think about things like cortisol and adrenals, and they think about things like meditation and parasympathetic, but GABA is so often a component to this. Also with kids, with hyperactivity, with kids who are maybe overly sensitive, or with kids who are anxious or easily startled. You want to look at these GABAergic pathways for that. So anyway, let's just go into this study. Essential oils and their constituents targeting the GABAergic system and sodium channels as treatment of neurologic diseases. GABA and sodium channels are two of the calming pathways in the brain that when things get overly excited, how can we pump the brakes on those things? So I went through, this paper's really long, so I went through and just highlighted some things that I want to talk about. So let's see, recent studies show that essential oils are emerging as a promising source for modulation of the GABAergic system and sodium ion channels. I'll just keep going and see what I recommend. Let's see, essential oils, they're recommended for or encouraged to be applied as a complementary therapy for people with anxiety, pain, bipolar disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and depression. Essential oils can be absorbed in the body by oral administration, inhalation, diffusers, baths, massages. Many studies show that essential oils were effective in reducing pain, anxiety, and stress symptoms in animal models and humans with a variety of different CNS disorders. So right alone there, people aren't probably aware of that. Now, if you follow any of my YouTube stuff, essential oils have changed my life. I got rid of sinus problems using essential oils, got rid of nasal polyps and biofilm infections. We use essential oils regularly for our kids. My old practice was in Utah and Salt Lake City, the heart of oil world of America, doTERRA, Young Living, the oil wars and things like that. So I'm very into essential oils in their usage, but I like how it says it's a complementary therapy for all these things, and they're recommended, just basically through wives' tales and through internet searches and things like that. But there's hardcore science behind these. Activation of the gamma aminobutyric acid GABA receptor system and the blockade of neuronal voltage-gated sodium channels are essential for the overall balance between neuronal excitation and inhibition. When those neurons get excited, that's fine. What happens is they're not able to be inhibited. And we all, maybe not we all, but many people can relate to that with their anxiety or their sleep problems, or they're not able to calm down. Once they get stressed, they're not able to calm down after that stress or kind of adrenaline surge. It's vital for normal brain function, and it's critical for central nervous system disorders. It's been suggested that essential oils could exert their effects through these channels. GABA is the major inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain, and the GABA receptor system exerts a major inhibitory function of the brain. The dysfunction or deficiency of GABAergic system has been implicated in epilepsy, pain, and anxiety. So, gabapentin is a common medication for any, nerve pain or neuropathic pain. Um, but yeah, so GABA is just really, really important in these functions. There's something else I was going to say about it, but yeah, whatever. I'll keep reading. So, da 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 da. Now, with some of these tables get very confusing. So these are the summary of essential oils from different plants. And so a lot of these, I have a list of what some of these are because I started writing them down and trying to figure out what some of these are. But some of these are things like, and I'm not going to edit that out. So some of these are things like yarrow. The names are different in these studies. Yarrow, sweet flag, lemon verbena, white wormwood, white sagebrush, also known as silver wormwood. Those are a lot of the artemisias. Dracunculus is dragon plant or silky wormwood. So some of these are interesting and are different. But some of the effects that they have, like these essential oils, anxiolytic effects, meaning they block anxiety. It's not probably mediated through GABA and opioid receptors. This one does increase GABA levels and decrease GABA transaminase. Oh, I remember what I was going to say before, is that also GABA is very important. That last paragraph showed this, so sorry for jumping around. But oftentimes it's not like, oh, we need to raise GABA. That's not the case. What we need to do is modulate GABA receptors, and it's the GABAergic system that needs work on. So even things like valerian root, passion flower, chamomile, L-theanine affect GABA receptors, so common things for calming or sleep, but same thing with essential oils. Antifungal and anti-inflammatory activities, effective antioxidants, pain blocking, anxiolytic, anti-nociceptive, that's pain, antifungal, anti-inflammatory activities. So essential oils have, many, many great things. I don't know why I started highlighting some of these things. Camellia, that's tea tree. It's not melaleuca, it's tea tree. It's like from green tea, but it's called tea tree. Citrus, bergamia, that's bergamot, coriander. So some of these are easy to recognize, but you just see, again, decreased depression-like behavior, increased sleeping time, anxiolytic-like effects, decreased stress-induced anxiety, anxiolytic, anticonvulsant. So all of these are studies that have been done on these different oils and their potential mechanisms, like on the GABA receptors, on the serotonin system, tuning synaptic plasticity, bergamot, via GABAergic neurotransmission. Lemon oil, Melissa oil, that's lemon balm, lemon balm oil, actually, Melissa. So all these, and lemon oil is like, I don't know, very inexpensive. Melissa oil is incredibly expensive. So there's a difference, in price point in some of these. I just highlighted some of them that I recognize. I started looking them all up, and it got too much. Valerian, thyme. We'll see thyme repeated a few other times. So essential oils that originate from different plants display anti-nociceptive pain and anti-inflammatory properties. Bergamot is a fruit best known for its essential oil used in aromatherapy to minimize symptoms of stress-induced anxiety and mild mood disorders and cancer pain. The anti-nociceptive effects of clary sage, thyme, and lavender were also looked at. Among these, the injection of bergamot produced a significant pain-blocking effect. Essential oils from Artemisia, that's the wormwood families, demonstrated anti-nociceptive, anti-inflammatory effects. This is a dragon plant. It's called, I have it sitting right here, dragon plant or dragon sagewort or silky wormwood. Has been used for treatment of pain and GI disturbances in Iranian traditional medicine. Some of these others, I just highlighted some. I'm going to skim through this because it's a long paper. Popular anxiolytic include these: chamomile, clary, rosemary, lavender, rose. These essential oils have been used medicinally in Europe for thousands of years. The antidepressive effect of clary oil in vivo could be blocked by dopaminergic antagonists, suggesting the effect is closely associated with the modulation of dopaminergic pathways as well. So some affect dopamine, some affect GABA, some affect serotonin, some have multiple effects, and we're just starting to uncover some of these things. Among those tested, lemon oil had the strongest anti-stress effect in this study. This is a review paper, so they're just reviewing briefly what all of these different studies showed. So I'm going to keep going. Melissa lemon balm is known to have sedative, cognitive enhancing, and relevant physiological actions. I've found this from COVID research with Melissa that it's shown complete viral eradication of herpes simplex viruses, and it was in some of the COVID literature that I uncovered that. That's why I got Melissa oil. That's why I have it here. It reversibly inhibited GABA-induced currents in a concentration-dependent manner, whereas no inhibition of NMDA or AMPA-induced currents was noted. Okay. Da, 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 da. Essential oils from ylang ylang. Ylang ylang is common, um, and it's usually used in reducing blood pressure, improving cognitive function in aromatherapy in humans. It was recently reported that ylang ylang oil displayed anxiolytic effects on anxiety behaviors. Says ylang ylang and its major constituent benzyl benzoate, and they act on the serotonergic and dopaminergic pathways as well. So again, without being a dead horse, I'll read a couple more here, but I think you get the point that these oils have constituents and properties that work with different mechanisms and pathways and receptors in our bodies. We don't know what all they are, but if we begin to think that our only health can come from a pill or a prescribed pharmaceutical, it's absolutely not the case. And what these can be used as, again, is a complementary therapy to whatever you're already doing in your conventional or your alternative medicine. And they're fairly easy, and a lot of people have them laying around. In addition to acting on the GABAergic pathways, the pharmacological effect of essential oils may be mediated through other receptor systems. Different species of achillea are used in folk medicine as sedatives, anti-inflammatory agents, analgesic agents, and anti-helmintic, anti-parasitic agents. I'm big on that. This group reported that the essential oil of this, I don't remember what that one is, but had anxiolytic effects, which were probably not mediated through GABA or opioid receptors. The essential oil of the plant had relaxant and spasmolytic effects, which may be mediated by modulating beta-adrenergic receptors, which is stress and adrenaline and norepinephrine, and calcium channels. So I've got a few other things highlighted here, just interacting with GABAergic, suppression of neuronal excitability, and things that we just see repeated. GABA receptors, GABA inhibition, GABA receptors, sodium channels, voltage-gated sodium channels, nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, GABA receptors, continues to go and go and go. NMDA receptors, that turns on GABA, or turns on glutamate rather. So yeah, I think that I've got more highlighted through here, but I want to get through it, and let me just get to the end. This one just shows that these things, an oolong tea, that's why I want to talk about this, an oolong tea. So oolong tea is something you could drink. You can drink it at night before bed, and it's just kind of calming. And these components of oolong tea potentially significantly potentiated the response to GABA. The results suggested that these fragrant compounds could be absorbed by the brain and thereby potentiated the GABA-A receptors response to exerting a tranquilizing effect on the brain. Might give my kids some oolong tea tonight when I get home. The essential oil of clove, which is made from aromatic flower buds, is known as an important weak local anesthetic for dental pain. Yeah, anxiolytic properties of citrus oils and sweet orange have been demonstrated. Bergamot, the oil is used in aromatherapy. We already kind of said that once. Let's just get to the conclusion and read that conclusion because that'll wrap it up. It is clear that natural essential oils demonstrate many neuropharmacological properties such as anti-nociceptive, anti-inflammatory, anxiolytic, antidepressive, and sedative properties. An increasing number of studies show that two inhibitory systems, the GABAergic system and the neuronal voltage-gated sodium channels are most likely involved in such pharmacologic effects. Essential oils are emerging as a promising source for modulation of the GABAergic system and sodium channels. So, if you suspect that you might have GABA problems based on your excitability, based on maybe your doctor, suggesting that, and you've gone through the right, jumped through the right hoops as far as, proper treatment and things like that, but you're looking for complementary things to add, or you're looking for other things to try, essential oils just hold so much promise. And I think that having an extensive medicine cabinet filled with essential oils can be very, very beneficial for most families. And then knowing how to use them and knowing the applications can be very, very beneficial in situations like this and others. And just there's a wide variety of benefits that we don't even know yet. So in a complementary situation, I think they could serve just a massive, massive value and serve a great purpose. So hope that was helpful.